you sit down, an attractive man or woman will approach you and start making small talk. And when they do that, you're supposed to say, the vampire sent me. You have to pay $10 a person cover. He said that, and I was like, okay, so this is legit, because, like, he wouldn't mention cover unless it was legit. So we did it, and we got taken through this door to an upstairs apartment that said employees only. And the apartment is what you'd imagine, like, a vampire apartment to be. It's, like, velvet furniture, dim lighting. Like, it looks like it's straight out, like, the 1920s. Beautiful apartment. It's small. There are only, like, 5 people in there when we get there. There's the owner who's wrote this book, Marita is her name. And the bartender who's like her best friend, and they run the bar together. And the only thing you can get is
a Bloody Mary.
Absinthe. They only have absinthe. I'm a lightweight, so I didn't drink absinthe, but the people I was with tried it, and it's wormwood absinthe, which is like real absinthe. It's like has the hallucinogenic, because
gosh,
wormwood has hallucinogenic properties. The way they explained it is like it's not like hallucinating like you're taking like a psychedelic drug. It's like the bartender was like telling us that it like opens your mind and makes you like aware, very aware, and that's why creatives like to drink it, because it opens something in their brain. I don't know. Anyways, so we were chatting. It was very cool vibe. Like, it was a very chill evening. There weren't a lot of people in there. It was like what I expected, what I wanted when he told me that there was a vampire speakeasy. Like, I didn't want to go to this like cheesy thing with like bangs on the walls and like thumping music. Like, it was chill jazz, like cool apartment. And we were chatting. The bartender was British, and it was very like authentic. There were cats. That was my favorite part. Yeah. And so we were chatting with the bartender, and I was like, I really want to get a reading. Because, you're in New Orleans, you want to get a psychic reading or your cards read or something. But, like, I don't want to go somewhere that's really touristy or, like, a trap. Do you have any suggestions? She was like, well, Marita's psychic. She usually doesn't do readings to the public, but I can ask her. And so she asked her, which means, like, it's not like she's open for business. And, like, I do readings from 2 to 4 every day. It's like, she's just psychic. She just is. Do what you will with that, whether or not you believe in psychics or not. And so I was like, hell yeah, ask her. So she agreed to do a reading, and the reading was so cool. We were sat in the bar. We just sat in like the corner by ourselves. It was all like candlelit, and the way she did her. I've never had a psychic reading before her, but the way she did it was like, she was like, before we start, I am psychic, but it's important to know that there's no way of seeing the future. I just make observations of things going on around me and things that I see. And so she was like, we're going to go through it and just like let me get everything out, and then we can talk about it at the end. So she like kept her eyes shut the whole time. Not like cheesy, kept her eyes shut. She closed her eyes the whole time, and like she did a lot with her hands. Like when she was describing stuff, she talked a lot in colors and shapes, which like, it wasn't like, you're going to move to the East Coast. You're going to be married by 27 and have 4 kids. Like it was it was general, but still like to the point where I was kind of like, she talked about a lot about my career, which was, I'm not going to go into specifics, but, she talked a lot about good things about my career and like just general observations. She talked in colors and shapes, which like, again, do with it what you will, but, it made it felt a lot more real to me that she wasn't trying to like guess things about me. Like it was like for example, one of the things she did was she was like, there's like a bowl and like a curve, and she was doing this with her hand, and on this side is like safety and gray and like stability, and I see you have like a very stable base in life, like a stable family and like something to fall back in, and over here I see yellow, and I really think that it wants you to like go into like the new yellow and like things you wouldn't necessarily do before. So it was like very abstract, but like useful. And again, she's not like guessing like I'm gonna get married. I'm sure
well, I was gonna say that her being more vague almost makes it seem more realistic to me, because
well, some of it applied directly to my life and what's going on with me. Like I said, she talked a lot about my career. Like I might be going through a role change, not a job change, still working for the company, but like a role change within the company. And she talked a lot about that, and like
that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. which was so weird. She mentioned, like, I had a good head on my shoulders, which whatever, do what you will with that. But she also said something like, I'm seeing a lot of green, like, you need to, like, get back to nature. We didn't talk about me at all when she met me. She didn't know where I was from. She doesn't know anything about me. She's like, you need to get back to nature, maybe do more yoga, grow a plant, and eat it. She was like, doing this. But yeah, it was like such a wild and surreal experience. Because again, this is me being a romantic, but like, you're in like a dimly lit apartment getting a psychic reading. Like, it was very cool.
I think some people do have senses for that, and
they're just like more aware, maybe.
And also I think the ones that tell you, okay, you're gonna meet a man in exactly 2 months, and then you'll be married by this, and then you'll have this many kids, and I don't believe in that, because I think the future's always changing based on every decision you make. Is you could choose a different path and your life could be totally different.
I think that's why she said, like, there's no way to actually, like, see the future. So it was really cool. Well, we did, like, before that, I think it was earlier that day, honestly, we stopped in one of the little tables that are sitting out in Jackson Square, like the main area, with, like, psychics. Me and Lucia both got, like, a reading from that lady, and that lady was like, she also mentioned my career a lot. Neither of them mentioned a guy, so maybe I'm just gonna be alone with a good career, which is fine.
I don't think so.
But or it's the forefront of my life.
So what's going on right now?
She was like, I see success, and I'm not making this up, and a lot of money. You're gonna be set.
I see that for you too
in your career. And she goes, and I see, do you have family on the East Coast, Boston area? Which was weird, because that's, my mom's side of the family's all from Boston. And she was like, I confirmed that because she was asking a question, but she was like, you're going to move there and you're going to get a house there. You're going to get a house somewhere near the ocean over there, which my family has.
Yes.
We go to Cape Cod every year. So she was a lot more literal, and I believed it a little. It was a little spooky. She also guessed that I was born in August, which, like, those people at the fair can do that.
Yeah.
She was like, August is your month, and it was. But wait, back to the original, like, lady. Lucia also had a reading done at the bar from her, and she talked a lot about her being a creative in the color purple, which is weird. How would she know that?
About Lucia
being a creative, and she's like, I mean, she's a. Sorry, Lucia, I'm getting your title wrong. Like, graphic design artist. She does a lot of, like, calligraphy. And
what's the color purple?
She's supposed to relate to, like, creativeness, like deep blues and purples. So take it with a grain of salt. But it was a really cool experience, and it was a cool night. And New Orleans in general is just like a magical place. It was so awesome. It's so pretty. I mean, we didn't really step outside. We were in the French Quarter and the Garden District, which is like the uppity area where, like, young professionals live, and it's kind of hipsterish. And I know there's also very depressed areas. I'm aware of that, but obviously we didn't see much of that.
Yeah.
So
interesting. I would love to get a psychic reading some day. I think it's really
just hard
cool.
whether to know if it's bullshit or not. Like, whether you know if you got someone who's, like, complete
you'll
bullshit.
Never know.
You'll never know.
No,
unless you can tell.
You're on your deathbed, you will never know if you're right or not.
That psychic was wrong about me. A lot of people don't like the idea of psychic readings because of self-fulfilling prophecy. So if they, like, say something,
that's hard too. I would be nervous.
She said all positive things about me, so I mean, not all positive.
Right.
Like, she made the commentary about, like, how I'm staying in my safe zone and I should get out of that. I am a very level-headed and safe person.
Yes,
I don't make rash decisions.
Right.
But okay, the Carter brothers. You want to hear about the Carter brothers?
Yes.
Do you have any questions before I move on? I feel like this has just been me talking.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so doesn't take very long.
Okay.
So we went on this tour, right? And it's talking about all of the ghosts, and not all of them, but, like, the main ghosts and vampire legends. And so we went to this one apartment, and they talked about the Carter brothers, and apparently it's a very well-known legend. It was in the 1930s. A woman goes running down the street in the French Quarter with, like, gashes and covered in blood and screaming. She runs to the police station, and she's like, this is a loose Like, I don't know how accurate all of this is, but this is how they told it. She runs to the police station and says, I was kept in this apartment and cut and drained of blood. Like, they were draining my blood. These two men took me, and the police are like, all right, where? So they took them to the apartment. She took them to the apartment, and the police officers are like, well, we know the people that live here. The Carter brothers live here. They're friends with the police. They go fishing with the police. They're friends with public officials. Like, they're public figures. Like, they know people of the city. Nonetheless, the police check it out and go upstairs, and lo and behold, they find 4 more people. 2 adult man, an adult woman, a teenage boy, and a deceased little girl.
What year is this?
1930s.
Okay.
And this is all public record. This is, you can look all of this up, and it's true. Everything I'm about to say is true. They were all tied up and had similar gashes on their wrists to the girl, and they all said the same story. Like, they were tied up and kept there for, I think one of the longest one that was there was like a week or something, and they were being drained of blood. And so the brothers weren't there at the time, but the police wait, and they come home, arrest them, search their apartment, and find like 14 more bodies and like dead bodies. And so, or something like that, some amount of bodies. And so they're put to death by an electric chair. And I don't know if you know how the paupers' graves work in New Orleans, but they essentially slide the bodies into those like mausoleum-looking things. And every 5 years, they brush the remains of pauper graves to the back and just put a new body in there. Pauper meaning like poor person, people can't afford like their own family crypt. And so they get put to death and they get buried in these paupers' graves. And 5 years later, they go to put a new body in there, and there are no remains. There are no like brothers' remains. Again, this is like actually happened, recorded.
Yes.
And so they go to the people who were held that were still alive, so the adult man, woman, and the teenage boy. So they go to the teenage boy's home, and the father opens the door and says, like, and they ask him, and he's like, I don't know, that wasn't my son. I don't know what you brought me, but that wasn't my son, so I cut his head off and set him on fire. So they arrested the dad. And that actually happened. They found the boy's remains, and the guy was sentenced to death. And then they check on the adult woman, and immediately after getting rescued and everything, and that happened, and the brothers got put to the chair, she checked herself into an insane asylum. And the adult male went on to become one of the most notorious serial killers in New Orleans after that ordeal.
Wow.
So, like, think what you will about vampires and stuff, but something happened in that apartment that like made them all go mad, or something crazy happened. So the theory is that they're vampires and they were draining them and drinking their blood. But wild story, right?
Yeah.
I told you it wasn't long.
Have you seen Interview with a Vampire?
No. The one with Tom Cruise?
Yes.
No.
It reminds me of that. I think that was
really?
set earlier. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember. I can't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure all their victims died in that movie, so no one was left.
Yeah.
And they weren't arrested or anything, but it was kind of like two. I don't remember if they were brothers or friends, vampires, living together.
Is it set in New Orleans?
Hunting. I can't remember. I saw it a really long time ago. It was my first ever scary movie that I ever watched.
I just think it's really interesting that all of that is public record. Like, that actually all actually happened. It's just...
It is really interesting.
They could have just been mass serial killers that made their victims go insane, but...
And there are people today who claim that they drink human blood and call themselves vampires.
They're just people looking for attention.
Do you think that it's possible to drink human blood and survive as a human?
You get diseases and die.
Okay, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, right? You get like AIDS.
Yeah, well...
Not in every case. But,
yeah.
But no, you can still get like a disease from like getting someone else's blood in your system, even if the person doesn't have AIDS.
I would have to think that ingesting blood cannot be
good for you.
Right. But so either they're lying or...
Because it has to go directly into your bloodstream. Because like just because you drink it doesn't...
I don't know.
Right? I don't know.
I don't know how diseases are transmitted through... I mean, I know if you get it in your bloodstream, you can... But if you ingest it into your digestive system, I don't know. But I don't know. Just crazy. Gross. Ew.
Okay. Funerals. So you know how they always have like funeral processions? It's like a big thing there. Funerals have their own soundtrack. So in New Orleans, jazz funerals begin